Have you ever laid awake at night, replaying the pain someone caused you? The betrayal, the hurtful words, the actions that left scars? The truth is, we all struggle with forgiveness. We want to let go, but the pain still lingers. So today, we're diving into 5 powerful Bible stories about forgiveness. Stories that will not only inspire you, but also help you release the burden you've been carrying. Because forgiveness is not just about them. It's about freeing yourself. Now let's start with a story of deep betrayal, yet an even deeper act of forgiveness. Joseph forgives his brothers. Genesis 50:15-21. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, abandoned, forgotten. For years he suffered, imprisoned, falsely accused, and left to wonder if he would ever be free. But then, something incredible happened. God raised him up. He became the second most powerful man in Egypt. And one day his brothers stood before him, helpless. Imagine that moment. Would you take revenge? Would you make them feel the same pain? Joseph had the power to punish them, but instead he chose something greater: forgiveness. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Betrayal makes us feel unsafe, like we can never trust again. But the more we hold on to resentment, the more power we give to those who hurt us. Ask yourself, is my anger serving me, or is it holding me back? Joseph's story teaches us that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means transforming pain into purpose. But what about forgiving someone who keeps hurting you? That brings us to our next story. King Saul was obsessed with killing David. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. David had done nothing wrong, yet he became Saul's enemy. Then one day, David found Saul in a vulnerable position. He could have ended everything right there. But instead of revenge, he let Saul go. Why? Because David understood something profound. May the Lord judge between you and me. Our brain craves justice. It's wired for survival. But revenge never truly satisfies. It keeps us trapped in the past. Exercise. Write a letter to the person who hurt you. Say everything you feel, but don't send it. Just let it out. David's story reminds us that forgiveness doesn't mean trusting blindly. It means choosing peace over bitterness. Now let's talk about the greatest act of forgiveness in history. Jesus forgives on the cross. Luke 23:34. Imagine being mocked, beaten, nailed to a cross. The very people you came to save are the ones killing you. And yet in his last moments, Jesus spoke words that still shake the world today. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. How? How could he forgive at such a moment? Sometimes we struggle to forgive because the person never apologized. But forgiveness isn't for them. It's for your peace. Practice, close your eyes, picture the person and whisper, I choose to release this. Even if it's just a little today. Jesus' forgiveness shows us that even the deepest wounds can be met with grace. But what if you're the one who needs forgiveness? Let's look at a story of redemption. The prodigal son returns. Luke 15:11-32. A reckless son demanded his inheritance early. He wasted it all on a wild life. Soon he found himself starving, lost, ashamed. Desperate, he returned home, expecting rejection. But what happened? His father ran to him, embraced him, welcomed him back. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. If you're carrying guilt, ask yourself, would you treat a friend this harshly? Healing exercise. Look in the mirror and say, I deserve love. I choose to forgive myself. The Father's love in this story is a mirror of God's love for us. No matter how far we fall, we are never beyond grace. But what happens when we fail? Again and again. That leads us to our final story. Peter is forgiven by Jesus, John 21:15-19. Peter was one of Jesus' closest friends. But in Jesus' darkest hour, Peter denied him. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Imagine his guilt, the shame. How do you come back from that? After his resurrection, Jesus didn't scold Peter. Instead, he asked, "Do you love me?" Shame keeps us stuck. We think, "I don't deserve forgiveness." But Jesus sees beyond our failures. He calls us back, again and again. Try this. Write down 3 good things about yourself and read them daily. Peter's story reminds us, your mistakes don't define you. Grace does. Why is forgiveness so hard? Let's be honest. Forgiveness is not easy. Our brain remembers pain more than kindness. We think, if I forgive, they win. But the truth? Holding on to anger keeps us imprisoned. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. It's choosing to break free. How to start forgiving? Practical steps. 1. Acknowledge the pain. Ignoring it won't make it go away. 2. Separate the person from the action. People hurt others from their own brokenness. 3. Take small steps. Forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. 4. Pray and ask for strength. You don't have to do this alone. Which step do you struggle with the most? Tell me in the comments. Some days you'll feel okay. Other days the pain will resurface. That's normal. But every time you choose to let go, you're giving yourself the gift of peace. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. Which story touched you the most? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you feel lighter, hit like and subscribe. Turn on notifications for our next video on healing and peace. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom. And you are never alone.